My life has been where I haven't invested in other people and where I also never invested in my wife. I wasn't willing to actually do that. Instead, I'd rather dive full force into work, just be a workaholic, just be someone who didn't actually show any care towards my wife at all. So as a result, like the first, I don't know, like 6 years of our marriage, we had maybe like one vacation. And it was just like work constantly, work constantly, work constantly, because all I wanted was just to do what I wanted to do. I didn't get the validation that I wanted from home because of the fact that I wasn't actually showing up as a real man. So as a result, I wanted to show up differently and I wanted to get that validation from everybody else in the world. And so I'd keep getting that from other people, thinking, oh, maybe this will make me feel better. So I just kept diving into work over and over and over again. Did you have this with a narcissist? Did you have this with a toxic person in your life where they didn't invest anything into you? So we kept going through this. My wife kept saying, like, oh, he's just a workaholic. Like, I'm just working nonstop, didn't really care, didn't really give a shit about her at all because I didn't actually show up with any type of investment, no investment into her at all. But instead, I just want to do what I want to do and just kept going through the motions of doing the things that I want to do. So being a workaholic, worked tons and tons just to say, oh, look at me. I'm such an amazing person because I was unwilling to actually invest any time, energy, money into my wife. Did you have this in your life where the person around you is not willing to actually invest anything into your life? So getting to the place of saying, okay, if I actually want my marriage, if I actually want to work on myself, like I need to actually start to develop an investment and not just money. Okay. Some people are going to hear this live and they're going to be like, oh, he's talking about money. We need to spend money. No, narcissists will spend money and throw money without actually getting emotional depth. And so for us, it was like, hey, we need to start developing doing date nights. My mindset never wanted to do date nights. They cost money. Like they waste time. I have to pay for a babysitter. I have to pay to take her out. Like all these things. Always looking at the negative. Always trying to put it down of like this isn't what I want to actually do. But then when we got to the place of me actually saying, "Hey, I actually want to show up different than how I've continued to show up because it's not changing, it's not getting any better because I'm still the same piece of shit that I was to start off with." I was like, "Okay, I want to actually start investing." So we started. Last year we went on I don't even know how many dates. This year we've gone on at least wherever we are halfway through the year. So 25 days, 26 days, at least, if not more. Because the mindset had to shift for me to actually be able to say, I want to invest in another person. If you don't have someone that's investing in you on a daily, on a weekly basis, you don't really have any baseline of having any friendship, any relationship, any love, any care. A narcissist is not going to spend the time investing in you and actually getting down deep into the emotions, into the feelings, into vulnerability. So, one of the things I want to talk about is how narcissists won't invest in you. Share some of my story about how I didn't invest in my wife and how we started to change that, how we started to work on that. Like a huge part of this is learning and understanding that the narcissist in your life doesn't care unless it actually makes them look better, unless it actually does something for their image or saves them money. Okay. A lot of them won't even give you any amount of their time, especially emotional time. Or you'll have people that just throw money at you and they'll just keep moving forward. Like the piece that you need to understand if you're not in a relationship with someone who's actually investing in you, not money wise, time and attention, you're in a relationship where someone's not investing in you, there's really not much of a relationship there at all. So we started last year, we started going on consecutive dates, weekly dates. This year we started doing weekly dates. This year I was like, okay, we're gonna step it up. We're going to have different weekends away. We're going to do different family vacations. We're going to actually start to do the things that I always said I would do, but always pushed it off because it costs too much, because it's too big of an inconvenience, because it's going to pull me away from work, all these different types of things. Like, you have to be able to understand, like, this process will continue to happen in your life with a toxic person where they will not invest in you at all. And this is what I did for years. Would pull back. We can't do that. That's gonna cost too much. We can't do that. Like it's gonna take me away from work. We can't do that. Like there's always excuses. All my excuses were weak attempts to avoid actually showing up as a man in my relationship. And all the excuses I came up with were also weak attempts to validate that I was unwilling to actually be a man and provide. you have to be able to understand if you have someone that's bulking and actually investing in you, he's not really a man. Like, oh, well, he doesn't have enough money. Okay. There's a lot of dates out there you don't have to have any money, but you have to take the time to invest in the other person. We got a book. I think it was end of last year. We've been doing it this year. We got a book called Adventure Dates. Okay. And you open it up, you scratch off a thing, do this a date, and you have whatever you scratch off, you're like, oh, I guess we have to do it. Forces me out of my bubble, forces me out of myself, forces me out of like what feels good. It brings in this vulnerability piece. And in doing this, it starts to open up different aspects of being able to dive deeper in the relationship than just, hey, watch a movie. They're actually getting into depth in the relationship. Narcissists will run away from depth. Okay? Narcissists will run away from this aspect of getting deep with another person, understanding their emotions, their cares, what makes them enjoy things, what makes them not enjoy things. Like they'll run away from that because it's time consuming. Because in their mind, it doesn't really match up to their priorities of it's supposed to be all about me. That's a waste of time. So we run away from that. Like, that's the thing that we started to focus on and has been a game changer. We've got a couple of people that are like, yeah, we don't really go on dates. And now I'm kind of like, no, how are you even married now? Like, how do you even survive? Because what it's done with our communication, what it's done with pulling ourselves out of the normal environment of a house, of having a child nearby, like pulling us out of that environment and putting us in different scenarios of like, okay, we're going to communicate. That's completely different. It's a growing opportunity. It's a place to actually show up vulnerable, which is scary, which is different. But it's something we've been working on. Where are you at? Because there's a piece of like understanding if you're in a relationship where this person is not willing to actually invest in you, what are you actually in? What does that actually look like for you? A huge piece of this is just understanding like you have to be able to move through life with other people that are actually willing to encourage and invest in you. If you don't have that, then that person is not actually engaged and willingly engaged in growing you and growing your life. Did you have a narcissistic parent? Where do you think your narcissistic traits stem from? Part of it would be early on disconnection with the primary caregiver. That would be like part of it. Also, a piece of like growing up in more of a authoritative household. Like you have to conform to this image. Well, the whole like, religious aspect. If you need to look and act this way, kind of thing. A lot of that prompted it, and then also my interaction and understanding guilt and shame. Okay.